Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing one of the greats from Patek Philippe in the modern era. This is my personal favorite reference from the brand. Originally launched in 2011, it wasn't until about 2013 that we began to see regular deliveries of this 5235G regulator. This is the 5235G-001, and in white gold, it measures 40.5 millimeters in diameter, 10.2 millimeters thick, 48 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and it has a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. The watch has a nice look on the wrist. It's full-sized without being oversized. It's not a timid 35 to 36 or 37, but at the same time, it's compact enough to fit underneath the cuff, and it's short enough across the wrist that I could still recommend it to a wrist of 13.5 centimeters circumference, so it could be considered a unisex option. That said, this watch is for me. I've always considered it to be a particularly forceful take on Patek Philippe styling, drawn from history, but also elaborated from some of the recent experimentation that the brand has attempted. You can see the buckle itself draws extensively from history with a combination of polishing and media blasting with that vintage logo across the spade-style pin buckle. And then we get closer, and you can see that the case is inspired by the 3448 and the 3450 perpetual calendars. Taking a quick look around, you can see the thrusting sharp angular lugs help to define this forceful case with a satin finished mid case, polished bezel, polished case back. The lug hoods are polished, but their flanks are satinated. And then you can see that the undertucked minor facets of the lugs are also polished. You can see we have 3 pusher correctors for the annual calendar and a Calatrava cross on the crown. So the dial, it is a regulator. We have separate hours, minutes, and seconds. And so like a regulator or a mother clock that would have been used in a watchmaking studio in the 19th or 18th century, it can be used to regulate other timepieces because it's very easy to read the time. Now the dial is brushed, almost like stainless steel on a DeLorean. It has a lovely silvered metallic grain, and all of the printing is blue on silver. You can see 2 different silvers are used. There's the silver used for the minutes track outboard as well as the sunken registers, and then there's a darker silver that's used for the center dial and a little hairline track of dial outboard of the minutes track. Hands are steel, fired blue. We have sunken sub-registers for your hours as well as your minutes, and they have a concentric pattern each within. We have nicely faceted cuts through the dial, so it's not just a sheer cut through the dial, but a nice sloped facet down from the dial to the discs, which are themselves printed blue on silver for the annual calendar. Patek Philippe, of course, invented the annual calendar in 1996, so this is their original innovation, and I prefer this aperture style display because it's intuitive to read. You have your day, you have your date, you have your month, just like that. No little circular registers with pointer style calendars. Easy to read. The dial, surprisingly low key. The name of the company and the city of origin have been engraved into the dial rather than printed, and this was one of the first modern Patek Philippe watches to feature a hacking seconds function. Turn it over. And what at first glance appears to be a caliber 240 micro rotor is in fact something entirely new. Now it's true, it does take the micro rotor automatic winding concept from the 240, but this movement is an all new one, caliber 31-260, and the big differences are going to be architecture, technology, and size. So let's start with the difference between a 240 and this 31-260. The 240 is 27.5 millimeters in diameter. This is 33 millimeters, so it's better sized to fit a large display case back. Automatic winding, the caliber 31-260 REG-QA, we'll call it by its full name, has a 48-hour power reserve and a unique beat rate that I've not seen used on any other Patek or any other watch. It has a beat rate of, you ready for this? 23,040 beats per hour. So vibrations per hour, 23,040. It is free sprung, and it's that Gyromax style free sprung balance that we associate with Patek Philippe historically, but there's a lot that's different here. Now, it is adjusted in 6 positions. It does have the Patek Philippe seal. It does have the silicone Spiromax hairspring, so this watch from the factory would have been guaranteed to run no worse than -3 + 2 seconds per day. It's always bold to put an accuracy promise on a watch, but Patek did that. Now, if you look carefully, though, you can see that this this is not just the silicone hairspring. Lots of Patek watches have that. This is the full Oscillomax anchor and wheel. So Pulsamax, Oscillomax components adding up to a whole where we have a full silicon unlubricated escapement. You can sort of see there that iridescent metallic blue associated with some silicon components. Silicon and then usually coated with some sort of a synthetic diamond to harden them and reduce friction. So we have the silicon hairspring and the full silicon escapement from the Patek Philippe Advanced Research Series. And this combination of features together on a watch that was not part of the Advanced Research Series was a debut on this caliber 31260. Micro rotor winder, but you can see that the architecture of the bridges is very different from the 240, as we have this wonderful crescent shape formed by the bridges that end in a sort of finger train reminiscent of old Geneva pocket watches. From the barrel, the great wheel, third wheel, fourth wheel, escape wheel, and then balance. And again, this one does have hacking seconds. It's beautifully decorated too, with perfectly aligned Côte de Genève across the bridges, mirrored anglage, which you can see gleaming and glinting, lighting up on the edge of every bridge. All screw heads are black polished with chamfered slots and circumference. You can see that there's engine turning in two different sizes on the base plate. We have satination on the wheels, as well as the base of the micro rotor system. You can see that we also include a number of polished pegs that are used to locate bridges. So you can see the locating pegs for the balance cock. They have themselves been black polished on their tips. It is quite attractive, and that from every angle. All of this is 30 meters water resistant with a snap case back, so it's not an aquatic watch, but not every watch can do everything. This one does more than enough. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this discontinued 5235G Regulator.